Yo, what's good? It's QL from the QL Show, heard on B93.7 and 96.3 The Block. Family, you already know what time it is. It's time for the Cut the Anchor podcast.
Welcome to Cut the Anchor. We're just talking to interesting people in and around the upstate right now.
Yeah.
And thanks for being here. So let's start. How do I want to start this? So this is how I want to start, actually, because I'm fascinated by this. We all have moments in our lives. Some happens earlier, some happens later in life, where something happens and we make a decision.
Yeah.
And we make a decision of like, I'm not going to take this path. I'm going to take this path.
Right.
And sometimes that's a positive thing. Sometimes that's like, I'm not going to go the way that my family went or the way that my friends are going, and I am now going to cut my own, cut the anchor, so to speak, and go in my own direction.
Mm-hmm.
So when thinking about you, 18 years old, you get into radio, like we talked about it a little bit, but completely not what you're expecting to do. But like, I'm curious of what, like, do you have a moment? Because it's one moment sometimes, it's a lot of different moments sometimes, but like, can you think back to that was like, hey, I'm making a decision, I'm going this way?
Yeah. Wow, that's a good question. And I guess it really dates back to like me being in high school too. And first of all, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this podcast, man. But I guess it dates all the way back to high school. Like when I was a junior in high school, and we had something called Junior Job Shadowing Day, right? And that's where you go out and you find somewhere that you want to go shadow at, and and you go and do that job just for a day. And I tried to get at all the local news stations around the upstate, but nobody was biting the bait. And then I reached out to a radio company, and they were like, well, come on. And at the time, I wanted to be a producer, which is why I was trying to get the TV stations. So I just wanted to do production behind the scenes. If there was any like technical issues or anything like that was me, right? But when I got inside the radio station, I soon realized that in order to, be here, like you got to be able to do a little bit of everything. So you got to have a voice. You got to be able to do sales. You got to be able to do promotions. And from there, I think I discovered a new passion for radio, because I always grew up listening to radio.
Sure.
And I remember like when like the personalities would talk, I would like make everybody hush in the car, and I would cut the radio up so I could hear like what's going on. And then I don't know, like I don't know if that was like my introduction of like my love to radio or not, but I think actually getting inside of that building and seeing the studio boards, seeing the microphones, being able to mingle with Kelly Mack and Tone Hollywood and Kenny the Mac Miles, like that, I think that was when I realized like, wait, I can make a career out of this, And I made a decision that this is what I want to do, and I've kind of been doing it ever since then. But I knew if I was going to do it, I had to do it the right way, and I wanted to integrate the community, because I know that without the community, like, who am I? Like with that, like when you think about radio and TV, who are you without the audience, without the people that are supporting you, So those are just some of the things that I always try to keep in mind.
Definitely. Well, we'll talk about the community stuff, because what you've done, again, and you're almost 10 years into, we talked a little bit about this, but 10 years
I feel old. When you say 10 years, man, it makes me feel old.
But you started, so if you feel old, how do you think I feel? Like, I'm like 10 years older than you. And that's a long time. And we talked a little bit about it. It's a journey, you know? I mean, QL at 18, Chris at 18, God, that makes me cringe.
Right.
And you were kind of like putting yourself there at 18. I was still like, no one
knew
who the hell I was.
And that's okay. That's okay, because I believe that we all figure it out at different ages and different points in life, Like, whereas I figured it out at 18, sometimes it may take you until you're 32 to figure it out. But is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. Absolutely.
It's a journey.
Not. Yeah.
We talked about this. It's a journey, and everybody has their own path. Mm-hmm. And I think another thing we talked about, that people look at whether it's an on-air personality, or whether it's a CEO, or whether it's somebody you see on TV, and there's this perception of perfection. Yeah,
it's like this platform they put you on. And like in my mind, it's like, why are you putting me on the platform that I didn't even put myself on? And now I got to live up to your standards because you put me on this platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, it's even gotten worse with social media, with just how easy it is to project this personality that is just a lot of times not true. But the people who are looking at that just see all the good parts. They don't see the journey. They don't see the struggle. They don't see the, me having a pit in my stomach because I just started sales and I hate it with every bit of my being. They just see the confident person who's in front of them talking. Tell me about that your journey of getting into something where your idea was I'm going to be in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that changed kind of quickly into actually I'm the voice, I'm the face. Like I'm expected to be all these things.
Yeah. Well, that journey was, I would say it was quite interesting because, you know, as we talked a little bit off camera as well, like I never even seen myself hosting events. Like when people start asking me to host events in the beginning, I would say no to some I would say yes to. But I think it was because I never put myself in those shoes. It was more so people saw the gift and they were like, this is what you should be doing. And rightfully so, like I lived up to that. But when you talk about like the pedestals that people, you know what I mean, put you on, like sometimes it's hard to live up to those standards, right? Because you didn't set those standards for yourself.
Sure.
And people expect you to be perfect at times. But I think that's why we need spaces like this right here, right? Where you can just really be yourself and like tell your story. So I think that I think jumping into this, not knowing that I was going to be in radio fully, but now doing it and kind of like really standing on that and living through it, it's been an interesting journey. But you definitely just gotta keep yourself sane and humble during the process, because again, people will put you on pedestals. People will expect certain things from you that you may not can deliver at times, you know?
Yeah. My in thinking about like those hard things you've overcome.
Yeah.
You know, personally. And we had a meeting today, like in the office, when we were talking about this. I've struggled with like the fear of failure, like a really significant fear of failure that has kept me from moving and acting, you know? And then at the same time, I had a fear of success, because sometimes if you get it, you know, and you live up to your potential and what everyone says, and it's like, oh shit, now I got to keep doing this, or then I'll lose everything.
Right.
So it's kind of like in my past, I've had a no-win situation. It's like, I'm scared if I fail. I'm scared if I succeed. Like, what the hell is there?
And then in my mind, it's like, what is success too? Because some people look at me and think that I'm like the most successful guy. And I'm like, wait, I'm 10 years into this thing. I'm just getting started. You know what I mean? Like, I thank you for the compliment, but my mind and what I see success to be, it's two different things. It's two different things. You know what I mean?
Well, what is it to you? I mean, success is a lot of things. I think some people would think like, oh, success is one thing. I make this amount of money.
Yeah.
When I can have this kind of car, this kind of house. I think it's a lot of things to a lot of people.
Right.
So what is it to you?
I think success is being completely whole in who you are, not just in your career, but like who you are as a person, right? And for me, I feel like I have experienced success in different moments of my life, because when people look at me and they say, you know, you are a successful young man, you've been doing this for X amount of years, et cetera, there's certain moments in my life where I don't feel like I'm successful. I don't feel like I'm living in my full potential, you know what I mean? And like who I am. I could be doing well on the radio. The show can be number one, but does that mean I'm successful? To me, not really. You know what I mean? To me, I feel like that I need to be where I should be as an adult. This is just an example. I remember when I was hitting the age 25, and I was depressed. Like I was down really bad, because I realized that from 24 to 25, I'm getting to this moment in life, and then before you know it, 30 is going to be here. And I didn't feel like I had reached a certain level of success that I should have. Now, meanwhile, the audience was like, oh, he's doing it. He's on TV. He's traveling. He's doing this. He's meeting celebrities. But is that really success? Because here I am, 24. I don't own a home right now. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I don't have 6 figures in my bank right now. You know what I mean? Like there were so many things that I thought that should have been happening in my life at the age of 24 to 25 that wasn't happening. But I also realized too that I had to stop planning my life, right? Like I had to stop putting these limitations and these dates on my life of when I thought this should happen and when I thought, you know what I mean, this should happen, you know what I mean? And now I just kind of like coasted, right? Like I'm on cruise right now, you know, and whatever happens, happens. And I think that is where it births like the back to school block party and all the community initiatives. And maybe that is success, right? But I'm still, you know, reaching and climbing to a different level of success, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we can all be successful, but there's certain levels of success. And you can forever go and reach those goals. You know what I mean?
And it changes too, right?
It does.
As I change,
it does change.
my definition, I was telling you, I have 3 kids now.
Yeah.
my definition now of success has
It's
a
in
lot to do with those kids
yeah,
and what kind
absolutely.
of father I am, what kind of husband I am. That was different 3 years ago.
Because
4
3 years ago, you were probably thinking about the money.
I'm thinking about the money.
Career-wise.
Exactly.
And now you're like, no, I'm not
exactly.
successful until I know that my kids, can sustain themselves, right?
They're good humans. If
yeah.
I raise good humans, fuck, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
If I look back at 70 and I have like 3 young men who are great guys, then I'm like, I've kind of done it.
Wait, you have 3 boys?
3 boys.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
How do you deal with that?
Man, they're 3 and under. I'm
Yeah,
just starting
yeah.
to figure. I'm a lot of shitty diapers.
Have they gotten to the point where they like fight over toys and stuff, or they're like the best of friends right now?
No, they're not yet. Well, it's funny because the middle one's 19 months and
Yeah.
he can't talk.
Yeah.
So the older one and him fight, but it's not like they can't converse.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just one of them's like screaming, losing his mind,
Right.
and the other one's kind of speaking broken English at him. So it's hilarious.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But my goal is, and I hope that they become, buddies. They're all within 3 years
Right.
of each other. But its success has changed,
Yeah.
right? Like my blueprint of the world has changed
Yeah.
because my world's changed.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And don't be surprised though, like as they're growing up and like they like I know this because with my sister, like we had times where we were really close. We had times where because we were going through our teenage years and she wanted to do her own thing and I wanted to do my own thing, and I thought that I should have been helping leading her because I was the big brother and she thought she was a little sister, she should be paving her own way. And now we're like the closest that you can ever even imagine as regards to sisters and brothers. But there are going to be times where they're going to be really happy together. There are going to be times where they're not. But then once they get to this age, like when they're over 18, they're going to be like boys, like buddies.
And like I'm
And
already,
that's the best feeling.
it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Because how I operate, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my standards are high. I'm like, I want them to be best friend. I want
Yeah.
them to be athlete. I want, all this stuff. And
It's
I
gonna
know
be
that's not
yeah.
going to be the
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
But you're right. It's the long game, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
set the foundations, give them the right principles in the
Right.
beginning, and then trust that
They'll follow you if you lead. They will follow you if you lead.
I like that. They'll follow
Yeah,
you
yeah.
if you lead. That's a lot of things in life, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's actually a great opening to you in the community, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are 27 in your space that they don't do what you do,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people in period that don't have that internal drive to give back
Yeah.
and then do it.
Yeah.
Some people want to,
Yeah, yeah.
but then there's the taking of the action.
But some people want to and they don't have the platform. They don't have the connections. And I think that's where we
100%.
come in at. You know what I mean? Like we help
100%,
connect
yeah.
people together.
100%.
Yeah.
So with that, you get into this industry and you decide, well, let's talk about back to school first, because I think that's a super powerful thing that you do. It's really connected with the community and the kids, which I think we can both agree. Like if you can impact kids when they're in middle school, when they're younger, like the trajectory of lives change.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much of a change at that point to put you on a really good path.
Absolutely.
So tell me about that evolution. Like what made you think of it and how did you execute the first time? And then how's it evolved since?
Wow.
Sorry, that's like 7 questions.
No, it's
I'm not a good interviewer.
It's a lot, but I say wow because no, you are an excellent interviewer. I got to say that. Usually I'm on that side of the couch and I'm asking all the questions, but it feels really cool to, be asked questions, if that makes sense. I know I'm asking a little bit. So
No, I like
I'm
it.
doing
Yeah,
too
it's
much.
a conversation.
No, but for real, man, like when I think about the back to school block party, it always gives me chills because I remember when I first started, and even to this day, like I would get home after it's executed and I would just like cry, just real baby tears. And I think the reason being is because I remember so vividly, this was before I even started working for my current station, B93.7 and the Block FM right here in Greenville. Like I had a vision. I had a vision that I wanted to have some type of festival, some type of back to school celebration. But the vision that I had, I didn't know how it was going to be done without the funds.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the first year, we did it in a parking lot of a church. And all we had was 100 backpacks. And people would drive up and they'll get them and they'll leave. Some people may hula hoop or something like that. And that was it. Like, you know what I mean? And then the following year, I did it again. And I can't remember the second location that I did it at. But then the city of Spartanburg, they seen it. And they were like, how can we help you? Like, how can we be a part of this? And I was like, well, I would love to collab. Can I use one of your spaces? And then from there, they allowed me to start using their spaces. And so many people started to pour in from Absolute Total Care, which is a Medicaid company. You have Verizon Wireless, you had Smoking Wings, and just all these different local businesses. T-Mobile came in at some point. And they was like, well, I want to make this bigger for you, right? And then we have community partners that are coming in now. They're saying, hey, can I give away free haircuts? Can I give away free hairdos? Can I give away free ices? Can I give away laptops? Can I give away cell phones? I'm like,
awesome,
how can I
man.
say no to laptops and cell
Yeah.
phones? So this year, kids were leaving with tablets and cell phones and laptops. And it was just, it was truly an experience, but it was something that started as a vision. I saw it and I was like, I got to execute this. And as I started to execute it, here we are at year 8, and we are blessing over 1,500 kids.
That's amazing.
Within an entire tour, right? We were in Anderson, Greenville, and Spartanburg. When this first started, it was only Spartanburg, and then Spartanburg and Greenville, and now it's transformed into a tour, and we have just been able to impact families all over. And that just brings joy to my heart, because I remember growing up and seeing just certain back to school initiatives or certain initiatives that were geared towards the youth. And I realized that those are the people, those are the organizations that planted seeds in me, you know what I mean? So that I can do what I'm doing today. Like, I understand that, first of all, I can't do any of this without the community. Like, without the community help, the QL's back to school block party would not be anything. But not only that, the people that planted the seeds into me so that I can, you know what I mean, like walk through the doors and you know what I mean, pave the way and give back to these kids. And one day I hope that there is another, QL or another, Keisha or another Quan or whoever you may be out there. Like, I can't wait to see that in Spartanburg, because I know that the exposure and the inspiration that I'm giving to the next generation, like, somebody's gonna, like, it's gonna be a light bulb that clicks and say, I want to do that too. You know what I mean?
So yes, that's really powerful. We've all had people in our lives that you can hear the same thing 100 times, and I'm sure you have, whether it's a principle or whether it's a saying or something, and I've heard it 100 times, but one person says it, and it hits and it singes in my brain, and I change because of that. You know what I mean? And it's usually because I look at somebody and I'm like, I see myself in that person, or at least I'm thinking about my own evolution, my own growth. I've seen somebody, I'm like, man, yeah, that makes sense. And so I could see people looking up to you and kids, like you said, and seeing QL, and they're like, man, I want to be like QL. Like, and so in thinking about like what you teach or the principles, or just, anything that, if a kid's coming up, he's 11, 12, 13, like in those pivotal years where they're deciding, like, am I going this route? Am I going to do, start doing drugs, start doing this? I mean, everybody's got that. When I was 11, 12, I was a freaking idiot. You know what I mean? But like, what couple things or 2 or 3 things maybe that you followed, or now knowing what you know at 27, what would you teach? What are those couple things, those principles that you would teach to a young man or young woman?
I would say to listen. Like, I was always a talker. I wanted to chit chat at all times, but I realized, especially getting inside of this industry, that sometimes it's okay to just sit back and listen, and that is my greatest advice, for real. And when I think about some of the people that I listen to, a person that I would never take for granted anything she says to me, and it's like literally every conversation we have, I have a notebook out. I'm like a student. I'm writing. Her name is Kelly Mack. Kelly Mack, I grew up listening to her in the upstate. I grew up in Spartanburg. She was on the radio at the time, and she was that personality. She was that radio talent. When you thought about radio in Greenville, you didn't think about, that morning show, which may have been like the Steve Harvey morning show or Ricky Smiley or whatever it was. You thought about that 10 and 3 talent, and that was Kelly Mack in the midday. And when I tell you, man, like, she changed so many lives for so many, not only single parents, but families across the upstate. And then I had an opportunity to work with her after interning at the station that she was at the time. And she literally gave me the blueprint. Like, what you see me doing today, I was given the blueprint by Kelly Mack. And she was like, whatever you need, I got you. And there was a time I used to talk so much. And then I realized, like, no, she already knows what she's talking about. She's been through it. And if she hasn't been through it, she knows that it's coming, you know what I mean? And that she always kept me prepared. She taught me how to negotiate in business. She taught me how to be a well-respected radio personality. She taught me how to be a community activist. She taught me everything I know about radio production, all of that. You know what I mean? I really had to give her like that that praise. Of course, God as well, but because of Kelly Mack, I feel like I have been as successful as I am to this day. And it really took me stopping and to just listen. Because again, I was a talker. There was the times I got on radio and there were PDs that would come in, and PDs, for those who don't know, are programming directors, but they would come in and they'll be like, you don't sound like $1 million. I don't think you should be on my station. I didn't like the way you said that, and you shouldn't be talking about this content right here. So you can, so you can imagine hearing those words, and it's
Sure.
like, damn, like, what do I do next? You know what I mean? Do I really want to be in radio? Is this what I want? Do I want to deal with the radio politics? You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I realized there were certain things you just had to ignore, and you know what I mean? Like, make sure that didn't saturate your ear gate. And Kelly Mack was one of those individuals that, you know what I mean, kind of really taught me the way. And when I was discouraged, you know what I mean, she picked me up and was like, it's all right, like, we got to keep going. You know what I mean?
Awesome, man.
And here we are. Like, I'll be reaching my 10-year anniversary of radio next year.
That's awesome.
And I'm doing it with the lady who I grew up listening to on the radio. That blows my mind. That
awesome.
blows my mind.
Curiosity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's listening is curiosity. I think we're in a time now where everyone knows, you know, they feel like they know, or they have to know. And it's just like, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just being curious about people, about the process. She's already done it.
Yeah.
Like, if you just listen, there's
Right.
a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
Yeah.
Like, people have done this. Just listen, be humble. And that
But
humility is the other
oftentimes
thing.
growing up, though, like, you don't want to listen. You just want to talk because you believe that you know it all, you know,
100%.
based off of your perspective of life. But then you meet someone else who may be trying to tell you something that may not make sense to you in that moment. But then here we are 10 years in the game, and it's like, oh, wait, that's why she said that. Oh, wait, that's why I shouldn't have done that. Oh, wait, that's why I shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean? It may not hit in the moment, but it comes to you eventually.
I always wonder, like, when somebody like that says something to me that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Something I've trained myself to ask, or I learned it from somewhere. They're like, what does the world have to look like in order for that to be true?
Yeah.
Right? So it makes you it's a curiosity thing. It makes you get in their head and be like, all right, what has to be true in order for what they're saying to be true?
Yeah.
And then it forces you to look at things differently, because that's all it is. Do you have any, because this is what I'm kind of fascinated about, is the principles with which people operate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in thinking about, because I'm thinking about if a kid listens to this and sees QL, like, what can you, how, the way you see the world is how you interact with the world.
Yeah.
Fair, right? So something about the way you see the world has allowed you to do the things that you do. You see everything out there as a possibility. You've obviously seen, hey, 18, 20, whatever it is, I'm in the radio field, I'm getting after it, I'm going to do this. By that result, by necessity, you see things that you can do. A lot of people see things as, that's impossible. That's not for me. That's, you know what I mean?
Let me tell you, though, real quick, though. I know you're not done asking your question, but I got to tell you this. What has worked for me is the power of manifestation. And it's not even me trying to be spiritual. If you don't believe in God, then start, like I tell people, start with the grass. Go outside, take your shoes off, stand in the grass. Like, that's what you know for sure, that like the universe is real. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like go out there and like speak positive things into your life. I have always been the person, Chris, that spoke positivity into my life, even during the bad times, during the dark times when I didn't believe, when I didn't see it. I just always spoke great things over my life, from this back to school block party, everything I'm doing in radio. I mean, even had a segment on my show called Manifest Monday, where Dr. S, my therapist, would come on and we would manifest things with our listeners, you know what I mean? Like, but positive things in your life. Like, I truly believe that it starts with the manifestation. If you don't have a relationship, don't worry about that, okay? Like, you can work on that if that's what you want to do. But I'm not here to force God, Jesus, or anybody on anything, right? But I do believe that power, the power lies in your tongue. And if you speak things as though they do happen. I'm telling you, because I'm living in it right now. Never thought I'd be working at B93.7, a top 40 station, one of the biggest stations in the upstate. It's happening. I listened to that station growing up. Never thought I'll be the face of 963 The Block. It's happening. Never thought I would be on TV. I'm on News Channel 7, which is a local station here in the upstate that everybody listens to. But again, when I tell you, when this year started, I had a vision board and I wrote down I was going to be on TV. I thought I was going to have my own TV show. It's not a TV show, but I'm a part of a TV show. I'm on commercials every day. Like it's building, it's happening, and it keeps on happening, but it doesn't happen unless you manifest. You got to speak those
thoughts
things.
Are things.
Yes.
Thoughts are things. Mm-hmm. They're really things. And those become reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Even to the point to like, I'm sorry, but even to the point of like writing things on your mirror, and when you wake up in the morning, read those things. You know what I mean? Like, and say those things aloud for real. Chris, I'm telling you.
I was telling you in a second. I have something on my mirror in my bathroom I read every single day. I'll tell you what it is in a second. Keep going.
But like, no, I'm saying, like, I know it sounds crazy sometimes, right? Because I didn't believe this until I got my therapist, and here we are sitting, and it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, yes. And she's like, now say you are wealthy. I'm like, I am wealthy. And I'm like, what the hell is this, Dr. S? I don't want to do this shit.
It's the truth,
but
though.
I will say, the more you do it, the more you align yourself, it happens. It does, brother. It's true. It does.
Vision board. You said it. Yeah. Explain real quick what that is to you.
So for me, my vision board consists of everything that I see myself being a part of, right, for the year of 2023. So on my vision board, I had a picture of Terrence J, who was a TV host for BET for a long time, but it was him as he was hosting at the BET Awards. I also had some different radio stations, like logos on my business board. I had different things that talked about directly about my life and how I treated my dog and how I treated my home and what type of home I wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was living in a place, and I just knew, I told myself I was going to live in the historic district of Spartanburg. I just knew I was going to do it. And I applied for it, and it didn't happen. And I got so discouraged, and it's so crazy because 3 days later, they reached back out to me and said, hey, we have the home is available for you.
That is awesome.
And it's all because of the manifestation.
Dude, and people listen to that and they think woo. They think, oh, that's
it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but try it.
Exactly. Try it.
That's what I say. Yeah.
On my mirror, I have 3 things. The first thing, which is the most important in my mind, it's your rewards in life will always be in direct proportion to your contribution. Right? So I wake up every morning, I'm looking like the rewards I get in life is always going to be directly proportional to the contribution I make to the world, to individuals, to everything. So I think about you, and I think about the contribution you make and you're making and you will make, and man, your rewards are just going to be, it's going to be crazy. Yeah. It's not about it. The house in Spartanburg is going to be like, just one piece of it.
And it's crazy enough, but I believe you. I'm with you with that, and I'm not just saying that because it's me, but I'm with you with that because I've lived through it. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I know, like I have a beautiful home right now, but is that the end? Absolutely. This is just the beginning. Yeah. Like right now, like even being on B93.7 with Hawk and Tom, the famous Hawk and Tom, I'm just scratching the surface right now. Like wait till you see what's next. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's awesome, man.
So let me ask you a question, Chris. So like, how did you get like a part of this industry and doing what you're doing right now? What type of gratitude just like it leaves you at the end of the day?
I like that. No, that's a great question, man. So at Armada, like what we're able to do, we get to help people who are hurt at the most basic level. Right. People who come to us are hurt. It's not their fault. A lot of times it's like through a car accident or something like that, but they're hurt. They don't know what to do. It's somebody else's fault, and we get to help them. Yeah. So, it's one of the interesting areas of law where usually you go to an attorney and you're like, I have this child custody thing, or I have this, these charges against me or whatever, and you got to pay an attorney, $500, $2,000, and you got to somehow try to find the money and scrape it up and all that kind of stuff. What I love about what we get to do is we get to give checks to people who are hurt. You know what I mean? So no client ever has to pay us. Right. We do everything on contingency, which basically we work for free until we get a settlement in the case. And the settlements, the money usually come from the insurance companies. We pay for insurance every month on our cars and things like that. And then when something happens, it's up to the insurance company to do the right thing and pay you, for your injuries and all that kind of stuff. And insurance companies usually don't do the right thing. Their businesses,
Right.
in the sense that their goal is to pay out as little as possible and to make money.
Yeah.
So that's why we exist. We're that counterbalance to the
Yeah.
insurance companies, and we actually get to help people. So
I like that though, because I mean, beforehand you were telling me about your wife as well and what she does in her profession, and she helps people too. And it's kind of like, wow, you have like an amazing couple who's doing the same thing. They're here to just help people. They're here to be here for people. You know what I mean? In different ways, though. In different ways.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked a little bit off camera, but man, our industry, it's part of the reason why I'm like, man, let's not even talk about this, because it just has such a bad name, and it's unfortunate. Because
radio gets a bad rep too. Because sometimes I get on the microphone and I may say something about the news anchor or the mayor that maybe he wasn't happy about what I said, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
but I get it.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, I'm proud of who we are as a company and a law firm, and I'm proud of what our team does and how we operate in this sandbox.
Yeah.
And and I think no matter what you do, whether it's radio, whether it's law, as long as you're operating it from a place of integrity, right? You're building a great team. You're doing something that actually gives value more than you're taking. Then you can be doing anything, and you can be proud of it,
right?
And you can do well.
I must say you have built an amazing team. Like, I have worked on different production sets and been in different spaces, and I've never felt as welcomed as I did when I came inside of your law firm. But not only that though, like, the place is beautiful. Like, it's amazing.
Thanks,
like when
man.
you come in, like, I know you can't see the place from
that.
at home, but like, it's like wooden floors, you got wooden tables, you got your Keurig. I mean, people greet you like
it's crazy. We built every single one of these desks.
Really?
Yeah. We literally built all the desks.
See, but that's what makes it so personal. That's what makes it feel so homey. Remember I was telling you, it gave me like the LA Zen vibes. Like, it's just like,
love it.
because when you come, like, I mean, even this space right here, like, it's just really, it's relaxing. That's
cool.
It's relaxing.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, something we really focus on, like, we want to make the environment people are working here in, we want to make the culture, like, we really care about all that.
Right.
A lot of companies say that, but it's bullshit, frankly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We do this stuff every day. It's like, this is what we're trying to build and be authentic about it. So I'm proud of it. We're having fun. Yeah. And I think we'll keep doing that. Cool, man.
Yeah.
I think this is great.
Man, this podcast was amazing. I haven't done a podcast in some time. I'm actually getting ready to launch my own podcast.
Really?
The QL show.
Sweet.
It's heard on B93.7 and 96.3 The Block. So, but it's crazy because, like, on The Block, we have 3 different signals. So if you're in Greenville, 96.3 The Block. Spartanburg, 104.5 The Block, and then Anderson, those Clemson students, is 107.7 The Block. But I do that at 3 o'clock until 7, and then when I get off of work at 7, I go to B93.7, and I do that from 7 o'clock until 12 midnight. And it's so fun, man.
I was gonna say, it's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of work because with that, I'm also in the community, but it's a lot of fun. I get to connect with the listeners, with the community. I'll talk about all things local, celebrity entertainment news, and the people like it, But in addition to that, I'm starting a podcast that goes along with the QL show. It'll just be seen on, like, the digital side. So actually sitting, down here, sitting here with you and doing this podcast is kind of giving me, it's getting my feet wet again. Because I'm used to being in the studio and doing live radio, but now I get to do a podcast again. So
So you just said it a little bit, but where can people find you online? How do they follow you, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. So if you're in Greenville, you can listen to the show on 96.3 The Block, and then, of course, B93.7 if you're here as well. And then if you're not in this area, we have an app called the Odyssey app, and that's AUDACY. And that app, you can go and favorite The Block, favorite B93.7, listen to me there. And then Apple Music. Everybody has Apple Music, right? I mean, if you're paying that subscription,
I
do.
mean,
but you could go to Apple Music and type us in, you know what I mean? And, you can listen to us there. Oh, and Roku TV. When I tell you the company has us everywhere, like,
wow,
we're on Roku, we're on Alexa devices, we're on Apple Music. I mean,
no wonder everyone follows you. Everyone knows QL because you're everywhere, man.
I'm just saying, man.
That's awesome, dude.
But thank you so much to your entire team. I mean, you guys has showed the utmost hospitality, and man, I truly appreciate it. I can't wait to this episode air so I can talk about it all on the radio and all that good
Thank
stuff.
you, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That was fun, dude.
Yes.
Thank you. Cool. Anything else? Can I? Do you want to put out anything else? Or
more bourbon.
Fucking let's go. Let's go.